It is amazing to me how many people want to draw better characters, maybe like the ones you see here, but they don't even know what drawing actually is. In fact, I'm willing to bet that you don't know either. So I'm going to be the first person your entire life to ever explain it to you properly. And you're going to run off and draw amazing characters. You will thank me for it. And if I'm wrong about it, you can yell at me in the comments. How about that? Fair? So, what is drawing? Oh, this handwriting is absolute crap. Okay. And I'll put in parentheses characters because that's what we're talking about here. Jesus Christ. Come on. All right. So what most people do not realize is that drawing is actually a demonstration of 3 different skills. Now, what are these skills? They are observation, understanding, it is so hard to write, and execution. These are the 3 skills you want to develop in order to become better at drawing characters. Now, what you need to understand is that everything we could possibly draw, characters included, is derived in some way, shape, or fashion from reality. And so if you do want to define drawing, drawing is the demonstration that we've understood what we've observed of reality. And it doesn't matter what style you draw in either, because all styles are derived from reality. They are exaggerations and distortions of reality. Now let's go a bit deeper. What do we observe? We observe people, because we're talking about characters after all. And let's say animals too, in case we're into hybrids and whatnot. And so what is it that we have to understand? We need to understand the fundamentals. So things like, let's say, basic shapes. Excuse my crap writing. What else? We could say volumes. We can say perspective. Oh, definitely anatomy. We can go with rhythm. And values for sure. And it goes on and on and on. Now, what do we need to execute? Execution is mainly the medium that we use and the technique we use when we use it. There's a lot of uses. What is execution? Execution is basically whatever medium we decide to use. So it could be pencil, paint, could be digital, etc. And it's also the technique we use when we execute. Now, if you look in the description box below this video, you will see that I've linked to a free guide that goes into all of this stuff and much more when it comes to drawing better characters. So you will definitely want to check that out. Now, I'm going to explain this process to you and point out where you're probably getting things wrong and how you can do it right. So what I've essentially done here is laid out the drawing process. So step 1 is you observe your subject. Step 2 is you take the time to understand it. And then step 3 is you execute and you rinse and repeat this process. Now, the first trap you may be falling into is not focusing on stage 2, which is understanding. So basically what people often do is they observe their subject and they go straight to execution, which is basically just copying. You're not taking the time to understand your subject in all these important fundamental ways. And that results in going through the motions. Now, this next trap that people often fall into is ignoring the observation stage. And so they start from their current understanding of reality and go straight to execution. This is basically drawing from imagination, right? Now, here's the problem here. If you completely neglect observing reality, who's to say that your current understanding is enough? At this point, you're at risk of internalizing false habits, which I've seen plenty of. There are a lot of people who are overly obsessed with drawing from imagination, and so they internalize bad habits, and it's not pretty. Now here's where things get really interesting. What happens when you ignore execution and all you do is observe and try to understand? This is actually the state you want to be in throughout your day-to-day as much as you can muster. Let me explain. Have you ever gone through the experience where you took a long period away from drawing and by the time you came back, you were better than you thought you were? Some people might tell you that it's because you needed a break, but I think there's more to it than that. What's actually going on here is that even when you're not actively executing on a drawing, you're still passively observing and dissecting reality in order to better understand it. And so by the time you get back to your canvas or your paper, whatever you're using, you might notice that certain things might come to you a bit more easily. Now, what this means is that even when you're not actively drawing, if you do this consciously, you can still improve your drawing ability because, like we said before, drawing is the demonstration of your understanding of reality, and you are increasing your understanding. Therefore, it maps out. Now, of course, the execution part will help you to internalize it a lot more deeply. Plus, there's the added benefit of improving your technique with the medium. Now, what is the best method of drawing to put this to practice? I personally believe that it has to be the atelier method, also known as the Barg method. Now, I get into what this is a lot more deeply in the guide below, but what this is basically a method of capturing reality through very careful observation and some very rigorous training. This method has been easily the most influential part of my own development, so again, if it sounds cool to you, want to check it out, link below. And until next time, peace.